Hi, everyone, and welcome. I am Charles Bass from the USD Alumni Association, and I'm happy to welcome you to this virtual alumni spotlight featuring Matt Van Houten from the class of 2004. We are happy to have you with us. We've been doing lots of these virtual events, and we will continue them. We will continue celebrating and highlighting our alumni in the future in this manner, as well as in person. So we're beginning to get back to hosting in-person events, and depending on the local protocols, and we certainly hope you will be joining us. You can go to alumni.sandiego.edu and find out all about those. So today, we are happy to have this event being co-sponsored by the Alumni Association and the Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network. And I'm happy to introduce the network's chair, Joe Toney. Joe graduated from USD with a degree in political science in January 2006 after completing the heralded extra semester. He then went on to get a Master of Public Administration at Cal State University Long Beach, and Joe is now a local government administrator with goals of becoming a city manager or county executive. Joe, thanks for all your good work. Take it away.
Thank you, Charles. And again, my name is Joe Toney, and I'm happy to serve as the chair of the network. A little bit of background: the Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network was established in 2013, and the roots of which began in the 80s and 90s with Dave Wadinsky, the namesake of the alumni game behind me, with the goal of connecting alumni with one another, with students, with the university, and the community. The network is committed to strengthening the USD network through jobs, networking, mentorship, providing philanthropic support for USD's men's lacrosse program, and advocating for and championing the University of San Diego. With that, we are excited to announce that we've officially relaunched the Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network. That happened on March 3rd of this year. If you have any questions or would like to get more involved with the network, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or contact Maya Hood, the Student and Alumni Engagement Coordinator for the Office of Alumni Relations. And without further ado, we are thrilled to have Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network's very own and my former teammate, Matt Van Houten, join us today. We hope you enjoy the program, and we look forward to seeing you at a future USD event. Back to you, Charles.
Thanks so much, Joe. And now a little bit about the one and only Matt Van Houten. Matt's views on media, advertising, technology, and innovation come from more than 15 years and 360 degrees of industry experience working across the entertainment and media sectors at powerful brands like ViacomCBS and WarnerMedia, at scale distributors such as AT&T and DirecTV, and respected universities, including the City University of New York, Baruch College, and NYU. Matt joined AT&T in 2012 during his tenure, and now as a senior executive in a highly cross-functional area at AT&T WarnerMedia's advertising portfolio. He's led the growth of multi-billion-dollar domestic and international businesses across traditional and emerging media. He holds several patents and has won an Emmy for his work in advanced advertising. For the past 11 years, he's also shared his expertise and his perspective in the classroom, serving as an adjunct professor at the Zicklin School of Business at CUNY Baruch College. Prior to AT&T, Matt spent 8 years working across ViacomCBS's portfolio of media networks and served as director of ad sales, strategy, and business development at Nickelodeon. He'll be talking about Goop later, I'm sure, or what, I forget what that stuff was, slime. The slime thing, that might have been his idea. And if you could, we'll get into that later. So originally from Orange County, California, Matt graduated magna cum laude from USD with a bachelor's degree in political science. He is a former collegiate athlete and WCLL national champion in lacrosse. Matthew also earned an MBA in marketing from CUNY Baruch College and currently lives in Manhasset, New York, with his wife and 3 sons. Matt, it is great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Charles, thanks so much for the invite, Joe. Thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it. Really excited to be here live with you all today.
Well, it's great to have you with us, and all the way from the East Coast. Where are you right now? I think you're. I'm
actually sitting in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, down for the summer from New York City, enjoying the time at the beach. Wish there could be a beach in San Diego, but the next best thing.
All right. Well, it's great to have you with us. Appreciate you interrupting your beach time for this alumni spotlight. So let's talk. How are you doing? How's your family? How's it been in the last 16 months?
It's been going well. I think everybody's evolving and adapting to these changes, but like anything else, you've got to persevere. You've got to move forward. You've got to identify what works for you. Trying to manage that elusive work-life balance to bring more joy, happiness, and profitability to every day.
All right. Well, let's talk about profitability and what it is you're doing. So, what led you to the work that you're doing right now as Senior Vice President for AT&T and WarnerMedia Ad Product?
Sure. So, I had a very focused plan when I was at USD as a political science major, was planning to be, in pre-law, graduated political science major, economics minor. The end of my senior year, I was actually hired by the United Nations. And so I brought my political science degree to New York to work at the UN. That role ended up not getting funded, which I found later happens quite often. Different countries sponsor different activities. And in this case, the Italian consulate did not fund what was a work stream that I was engaged on in Latin America. So I was in New York trying to figure out with my board shorts from San Diego and my surfboard, what do I do? Do I stay here in this big city or do I head back to the beach in California? I took some freelance roles trying to get my bearings and ended up, providing an impact at MTV Networks at, 21, a couple of months out off of graduation, and kind of the rest is history. I spent 8-9 years at Viacom, MTV, and entertainment. And then over the last 8 or 9 years, have been at AT&T, really growing their portfolio of advertising. In terms of, what is the role and what it entails, I have about 80 people that report to me across, New York, California, Texas, Tel Aviv, and they are responsible for building a lot of the ad products and the relationships that AT&T has related to advertising. So AT&T, I think many know, is a Fortune 10 company, but they've acquired many assets over the years, from DirecTV to HBO to CNN. And those are all opportunities for them to present advertising experiences. So many of the brands I deal with every day, McDonald's, Walmart, Coke, Pepsi, right? They want to reach their audiences. And so they connect with AT&T and the portfolio of products that they have to get their message across in a relevant and impactful manner.
That's great. It's you have so many things to offer potential clients. I can just imagine. It's fun coming up with creative ways to get McDonald's out in front of their customer base. So in the last, I don't know if you know, but there's this pandemic thing that's happened, and it's not to make light of it because it's impacted people in some tragic and tremendous ways. How has it impacted you in your work, and what have you done to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably 2 observations from the pandemic that I would cite. I think the first is, like many companies and many industries, it has accelerated the digital transformation in terms of a more smooth remote transition. I think I've been pleasantly surprised. We manage a multi-billion-dollar business, to see employees and talent and resources able to continue to perform at a very high level despite that separation was really impressive. The ability to continue to hit across the consumer demand. I think the second thing I would say is, we've learned, and I would say grown as a team. And so, you're only as good as your team, and having to rely on, your group and others in this more challenging environment, I think has brought many people closer together. I think everyone's probably excited to get back together face to face, but certainly, a digital transformation has occurred, I think, very positively. And there's been some interesting cost savings related to that digital transformation. I know, obviously commercial real estate industry, has probably seen some of that themselves. But again, I would say you're only as good as your team. And I've been very impressed working with a very, talented group of colleagues.
Yeah, I imagine you mentioned you have colleagues all over, so you're spending a lot of Zoom time or whatever your chosen platform is. Yeah, we've been remote at USD for 16 months now, and it's different. I'm on campus right now, but there aren't a lot of people. We're actually mostly all coming back next week. So we'll see in different forms. So we'll see how that goes. It will be great to to see people again, just to be face to face. So yeah, do you anticipate continuing in a remote fashion, or how do you think that's going to work for you at AT&T?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're exploring, that hybrid scenario. So we have offices, all over. I'm based at Hudson Yards in New York City, which is on the west side. I would anticipate heading back towards the end of this year and then into next. But I think the days of maybe 5 days a week, at least for our industry, are probably going to be extinct. I think there'll probably be, a couple of days a week, and the effectiveness of being able to, continue to deliver results remotely is going to continue to move that forward. Yeah,
I think we've kind of revamped how we measure our success in the alumni office. We've had in the last fiscal year, we managed 280 different events, so probably double our output of the events in terms of in-person things. Speaking of in-person things, we appreciate you've hosted us at a different place. It wasn't Hudson Yards, I don't think, but so your involvement with USD has continued since you graduated, and we appreciate that. When can we come back to you?
Anytime. You're always welcome. I know we've had some fun events with the alumni group. Karen, others we've coordinated over the years. We've done some fun stuff at the Paramount Screening Room in New York, which is a private movie theater. We've done some events at MTV in the old iconic TRL studio. We've done them, across a few different, sites and locations, and always extending that invite. Love to see the New York chapter of the Alumni Association continue to be engaged. So important.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. And what else would you say your involvement has been? I know you're active with the Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network. How's that helped you maintain, I guess, grow in your career, that USD network?
Yeah, I mean, listen, USD was such an incredibly impactful experience. I have nothing but, great things, that fond memories of my time there. I'm a guy that came there. I was from Orange County, had a few different college opportunities. It was just so overwhelmingly beautiful. It was a no-brainer to come to USD. Even now, having gotten an MBA, just truly remember and recognize and appreciated that time. I was a Maher when Maher went co-ed as a freshman. I lived in the Vistas. I lived in Manchester when they were brand new. I think I brought my toothbrush. I was the first person in that new building. And then, like many other, ventured my way my senior year down to the beach over on Garnett Street, over by the Broken Yoke. Hopefully it's still there. But what a great experience at USD. I did have the fortune of the IES program studying abroad. I went to Milan, Italy through USD. And have tried to stay engaged. You mentioned some of the activities as it relates to the New York Alumni chapter. I've worked with Dean Pike and the business school in the past on bringing some entertainment and media courses forward to USD, something that I've been passionate about, something in my industry and space that I've been teaching in New York. USC, UCLA, they have some opportunities, but great opportunity for San Diego to get involved in the entertainment and media business as well. Playing in the alumni game, lacrosse game, always not spraining your ankle, and playing in the alumni game, very important. But it's been great. And to be honest with you, the lacrosse community was really welcoming. I mean, I was a walk-on, definitely not the most talented player, Joe could tell you, but, tried hard and found a really great community there. We had upperclassmen, guys like Mike Mancuso and Alex Funk and Tommy McDonald and Mike Jutt, and I could go on and on, that really embraced us as the younger guys, showed us the ways of the beach and showed us kind of what San Diego had to offer. And getting connected to that community was really, really impactful, and something that, I've tried to stay connected to and certainly need to do more of. But tremendous experiences at USD. Most beautiful campus. I mean, playing lacrosse games on that field, traveling to, Pepperdine and playing on their fields is again, stuff I'll never forget.
Yeah, that's great. And the campus continues to get more beautiful every day. We just had it. You got to come back and we'll show you. Actually, Homecoming and Family Week is in October 12th through the 17th. So hopefully there'll be an alumni game and you can show your skills once again and not sprain your ankle.
There you go. I've got a couple of boys. I've got 3 boys too that you mentioned in the intro, all playing lacrosse in Manhasset. I'm coaching them as well, which is just super rewarding. And again, that wouldn't have happened if somebody at USD didn't take a chance on me as somebody that was, athletic but unskilled. So really, really great.
That's great. By the way, I failed to mention, you can ask questions in the chat or the Q&A, one of those two places. Please click below and ask questions if you have any interest in doing that. We do have a few questions that were pre-populated, so we'll get to those in just a minute. But Matt, let's talk about your Emmy win. Tell us about your Emmy win and what that means and what you're going to get to do.
Sure, yeah. So me and the team invented some technology a couple of years ago, advertising technology for television that is being recognized, later this year. And it's pretty powerful, right? TV advertising has been around for 60, 70 years. And we've seen digital streaming, right? Subscription on demand, video on demand, the streaming wars, we call it, have really picked up. We've all kind of watched the change in entertainment and media, from VHS to DVD, HD and Blu-ray to now streaming. And we've developed some technology that basically allows TV to look and feel more like digital, really reverse engineered kind of a legacy TV platform that now can go national and local. And so what it really did was provided an advertising benefit to small and medium-sized businesses across America. So that if you had a mom and pop local florist or a tailor, an auto body dealership, you have the opportunity now to advertise to the zip codes in your local community. That's something that didn't exist in media and on television for many years. And we've been pioneering that work. And for that, have been recognized by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And I'm super pleased to receive that award, later this year.
So you're telling us we're going to see you on the red carpet.
You bet. Maybe I'll send me a little USD pin. I'll put it on.
Oh, we will do that. And if you could wear a Torero blue black tie, I don't think that's the right terminology, but a Torero blue bow tie would look great with your tux. So that's awesome. I'm trying to think about that digital streaming and what can you tell us? What's the future of, right? I know a lot of people brag about cutting the cord, which has obviously impacted your business, which has led you to create this Emmy Award-winning product. It seems like it's like a pendulum. We cut the cord because we want to save money, but then we stream. We have Hulu and we have Netflix and we have Paramount Plus. And we have all these different things, and we're paying. It seems like we're paying double what we used to pay. What do you see the future? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think like any other industry, the shift is following the consumer, and the consumer are the eyeballs, and any brand or advertiser or company wants to be where those eyeballs are. And so as media consumption changes, right, when we went from the BlackBerry to the apps to the iPhone, as we've seen these different video platforms and social platforms, evolve, you're getting large concurrent number of users and viewers that are entering these different spaces. Esports and others, obviously good example, but the reality is, just like any company, you got to keep your focus on the end user and the customer. And as they have adopted these various formats and platforms, you're seeing not just cord cutting of traditional cable, but you're seeing multiple services. I've got a Netflix service and a Hulu service and an AT&T TV service and an HBO Max service. Brands and advertisers, again, want to be adjacent in relevant content, in powerful content, in sports, in news, things that evoke an emotional connection. And that will never change. The platforms may change in terms of the delivery of the content. And for people like me, innovators and technologists, right, you want to be able to provide that conduit, right, between those opportunities. And so that's a lot of what we're focusing on. I think you're seeing a lot of streaming options in the space. I think you're going to see probably more. And then if I had to prognosticate, I think you're going to see a contraction, and you'll see, similar to what you've seen in other industries, probably an oligopoly, probably a couple, right, that are going to dominate that space over the next few years. But there's a time and place for a lot of these different niche platforms you see coming together.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about the emotional aspect of your business too, and tying those emotions. We're right in the middle, as we're recording this, we're right in the middle of the Olympic Games. And I mean, if you talk about emotional content, there's a lot of opportunity around that. I think of the young swimmer from Alaska last night who won the 100-meter breaststroke, I think it was, and seeing the families in Alaska watching this this was one of the great memories I think I'll have from these Olympics. But and to be able to work around that, yet still get your clients some eyeball time, that's got to be fun too. Those kinds of things.
Sports is so great and unique, and as a lacrosse player, I would tell you it's to see someone's hopes and dreams played out in front of you, knowing what they've sacrificed to get there, it is powerful. And we whether you're repping your city or your state or your country, there's certainly an emotional connection there. And as you know, it's an unpredictable outcome, right? Like any given Sunday, you never know who's going to win. And I think all of those things certainly embody America and probably embody why that's a $1 trillion industry today.
Yeah. Speaking of lacrosse again, let's talk about your favorite memory from playing lacrosse at USD. If you could narrow it down, a favorite, we won't make you pick one.
Sure. I would say, the number one is very, very straightforward, right? We won the WCLL national championship, or our divisional championship, I should say, in 2004. And that was my senior year. And so being a player, like I said, as a walk-on and growing, into that role is a little bit of playing time. Hey, just clear, don't touch the ball, just clear the ball. Hey, when you get the ball, just pass the ball, to, playing in that championship game. I had a couple goals, couple assists, nothing too fancy, but it was really special. And to be honest with you, everything leading up until that point was really special, being a part of this team. And as I mentioned, some of the older guys taking us under their wings. Lacrosse initiation was great. That was probably the second best memory, even though we're not going to talk about that. But just a great community, honestly, great community of individuals, and somebody that, allowed me to kind of find my place and kept me focused on both academics and on sports. I think, I probably not done that, probably would have made a few more trips to TJ. And so I'm certainly very grateful that I had that experience and certainly recommend it. So, but the championship game, man, it was really special.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a great memory. I was just saying we're always recruiting students. So for all those watching and listening, and of course we appreciate you having 3 young boys that are all going to be coming out to USD. I'm sure you're going to want them to play lacrosse as toreros. So what would you had a great experience at USD. I'm happy to report that even despite the pandemic, we've come out of the pandemic strong. Our admissions numbers are high. We have the most diverse class we've had in our history. A lot of great things happening on campus. So if I was a senior at USD and I'm trying to figure out how to get myself into the world of advertising, or both blending the entertainment and media and all this, what advice would you give a senior who's coming out of USD right now?
Sure. A couple things, right? Be intellectually curious, be hungry. You're going to get a lot of doors probably slammed in your face before you get one open. Do not be discouraged, persevere. Read all the entertainment and industry trades that you can, Adweek, Variety, Wall Street Journal, Synopsis, and get yourself educated on the language and the taxonomy and some of the details around the vocabulary of how this industry works. There's 2 parts to it. There's the media side, which is really technology driven. There's also the entertainment side, which is a lot of the content that you see. There's a place for anyone and everyone, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a marketer. There's an opportunity for you in entertainment and media. I would take as many internships as you can, take as many informational interviews as you can. No doesn't always mean no. No may mean, hey, maybe not right now. But if you work your network and you don't give up and you leave a really nice, thoughtful leave behind, I think you're going to set yourself up for success. In the world of advertising and media and entertainment, there's really a couple players. There are those that distribute the technology. Those are the platforms. You have those that physically are creating the content, like the studios. And you also have a lot of the brands and agencies that represent those companies on behalf of creative and strategy. So what I would advocate for, if you're interested in entertainment and media, look at the advertising agencies. They are the best place to, and they're in Southern California, they're in New York. that are willing to take a chance on a recent grad with no experience, and you will be connected to that brand and support them in their media journey. So an example of that would be a McDonald's, right? That spends maybe $900 million a year on advertising and media, will hire an ad agency, and that ad agency is going to help that McDonald's make decisions on how to bring customers in. McDonald's needs to focus on making the best hamburger they can, right? They need to focus on doing it cost effectively and delivering great service. What McDonald's is not focused on is what's happening with Snapchat or Vine or TikTok or the social gaming spaces. And so they hire an expert to do that for them. And that expert is an ad agency. And that ad agency will do three things. They will help that McDonald's create a commercial on TV or creative for their digital websites and apps. They'll help them strategically manage that money, how much they should allocate to each channel, TV, radio, print, newspaper. And the third thing they'll do is determine and help them strategically negotiate. How do I get you the best deal? And so I bring that up because for anybody interested in graduating to get in entertainment media, a great opportunity, sans having internships, that they're willing to take a chance. You get educated in that space, and then you can move to these brands and these major, Fortune 100, Fortune 150 companies.
That's great advice. Tell me, what's next for you?
Yeah, listen, I mean, more of the same, really. I took a business for AT&T in 2012 when I started. That was a couple $100 million to nearly $2 billion in the last couple of years, which has been really rewarding. I want to spend more time with, my family. I've got a great family in New York and kids. More time like this, USD, and that's really it, man. It's not a complicated formula. I'll put it that way.
I'm thinking we're building the Knaus Center for Business Education. I see Matt Van Houten's name on the building somewhere. So plan on that. Talk about what led you into teaching and back at CUNY Baruch College.
Yeah, that's a great question and a kind of an interesting story. So when I was getting my MBA at Baruch, well, if I back that up even more, when I was at MTV Networks at Viacom, which is, I graduated in May and got that job at Viacom after many freelance jobs that I was turned down from, and had great support from my family, and landed that MTV job and managed that for 6-7 years. But what I realized is my first job was in HR, and you realize what you like and what you don't like. And most people think, hey, I'm just going to wake up and I know exactly what I want to do the rest of my life. Listen, I'm 40, I don't know. My dad, still doesn't know. Right? It's an evolving process. And what I tell students as a professor now is it's really by process of elimination that you figure out what it is that you're going to do and what you want to do. And it typically is the things that you're good at, you are generally more attracted to. Things that you're less, right? Maybe less so. And so for me, I was working in HR at Viacom, MTV, and I realized I love the people side, but man, I don't love these 401k defined benefit plans. Not for me, right? And so I moved from that role into events at MTV and Nickelodeon, and it was awesome. All kinds of different events, movie events, TV events. And I realized at that point, wow, these ad sales guys, they got the best suits and the biggest, budgets. That's where I want to go. But I couldn't get in. I knocked on that door for a couple of years, and they said, Matt, you're great, but you don't have the credentials. And so I went back to school to get the MBA to put myself on a better course. And after I completed that MBA, I was able to break in to ad sales, which is where I work now, 10 years later. But while I was getting my MBA, I had a professor, an entertainment professor at Baruch, who I connected with. For anybody that's ever watched Mad Men, that show on AMC, going back quite a ways, this professor was actually part of that show, Mad Men. He was one of the original founders of gray advertising in his late 70s now, Al Lieberman. And he approached me and said, hey, Matt, listen, you're working in entertainment. I think you should be a professor. And it kind of caught me off guard. And I said, that's not really in my wheelhouse. I'm doing what I'm doing, and I appreciate it. And there's a long line to, as a city university to do that. And so long story short, he was in the process of retiring and asked me to co-teach a semester with him, which we were able to successfully convince the dean to do that. And we co-taught a class for one semester, and that was 12 years ago. So I've been teaching at NYU and at Baruch College, primarily Baruch College for that time. It's been super rewarding. I can tell you former students that I've had that are now at ESPN and Google, and it's just amazing to see them and their careers growing. And I hope to do more of that, certainly, when I retire, whenever that day comes. But I certainly enjoy it. In fact, I worked with Dean Pike a few years ago to put together a class, an entertainment and media program for USD's summer class. And we all flew out from New York and put that together here at the business school. So, but you've got a lot of great alumni here. For Tita Brothers, I know, and others, it's been, it's a very impressed with Olin and what the business school and what USD has done and how they continue to stay engaged.
Yeah, the Truro network is strong, and your success only adds to the strength of the Truro network. So time for the really hard-hitting questions. Kara wants me to point out that we all know Christina is your better half, so and the true boss of the Van Houten fam, and she is listening today, so we want to give her a shout out. So we'll do that. But here's the biggest, toughest question of the day: pennant or Comer?
Yeah, we did this. We talked about this. I'm going pennant. I'm going pennant.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you who haven't been back lately, they're exactly the same. Same. I think the same old guys sit in the corners. I don't know if that's for both of them, but I know for the beach.
I'm also going to go with the Santana's burrito, if they still have the Santana's burrito. That one, California burrito Santana's killer. Absolutely killer.
We'll have to drop one of those in the mail to you. So, all right, let's hit some of the questions from our registrants. So, how did your lacrosse experience prepare you for your career?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think anybody would tell you in athletics, teamwork, right? You work with teams every day. I work with teams every day. Team of 80, right? That team of 80 interfaces with a team of 1,500. That team of 1,500 interfaces with a team of almost 200,000, right? So when you look at it, that doesn't go away. And I think the true fundamental comment of sports, which is you're only as strong as your weakest player, is true not only in sports but in your careers. And so you got to embrace that your team, and you got to be real, and you got to be truthful, and you got to be authentic on where you're strong and where you're weak. You need to, if you're a manager, hire against your gaps to try to bring that forward. We were very focused. We were focused on a goal. We wanted to win a championship. We did. It was very rewarding. We were very goal oriented. I think all critically important. And by the way, we weren't, NCAA funded. We didn't have, all the charter buses and that, although now, as we were talking with Joe, right, I'm excited for the college athlete today. It'd be great to get a redo now, but incredibly valuable experience. When I think about USD experience, it was really synonymous with my time with lacrosse. And as I joked, probably would have spent more time in Mexico than I should have had I not done it. So I'm really, really grateful.
That's great. Here's a question about your teaching experience, and whoever wrote this in said it's more impactful for he or she when they were taught by a professor who has the real world current experience. How are your students receiving you, would you say?
Well, check me out on ratemyprofessor.com. You can see. I don't know if that's even a site anymore, but is it? So no, listen, it's super rewarding. I think you're right. I think when you think about entertainment and media, this business that I'm in it's unique, right? Because you have a lot of creatives. You have these directors. You have these artists that are, I don't know if it's right brain or left brain, but very creative. And then on the other side, you have guys like me that are business oriented, right? Logic, analysis, financials. And so we make this joke in our industry. It's this marriage between the suits and the creatives. Typically kids that probably wouldn't play together in the sandbox because they're wired differently have come together to create what is the second largest export of the United States. The first being military goods and services, the third being financial services. But entertainment and media is a huge, area that we've excelled in. And I've enjoyed it for sure.
You're from Orange County, the laid back surfing, kind of place, but you have this Manhattan attitude that just comes through. I mean, you're just fast talking New York guy, right? I don't know if
20 years in SoCal, 20 years in New York, you got to pick one.
That's right. We'll talk a little bit. Here's another question along those lines: work-life balance. We talked about your wife being in charge of things, but how do you manage? You're teaching. You're running this massive department of how do you do it? How do you make it work?
It's simple, right? You're going to sleep when you're dead. So
okay.
every day is an opportunity to do your best, 110%. And, you know, you could say it, there's a million memes about it. You can go to your Instagram feeds, investor memes, whatever, and be motivated. But the reality is you wake up every day and you look in the mirror and it's you. And it's what are you going to bring to the table? And for me, I'm, you know, while I can, I want to do as much as I possibly can for myself, for my family, for others. And I feel, like I said, fortunate to be in a position to be able to do that with my time and time management. That's the one thing I certainly learned in my MBA, time management.
All right. When you finished all your work, you've never finished, but what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Sure. So, you know, at the beach, love being in the water sports, you know, love doing activities with the kids. I'm a coach, I mentioned, in lacrosse. So between coaching and teaching and traveling takes up the majority of the time. Spending time with my kids, watching them learn new things, you know, that's probably the most rewarding. So,
all right.
My kids will tell you app games. Oh, you know, Dad, he's going to, you know, get a couple minutes, you know, put a strategy game on. But it's great. It's great. And listen, you know, kudos to my wife for putting up with all that hard work and time, you know, trying to be in as much as possible.
All right. Well, along those lines, you just mentioned travel. What are some of the cool places you've been able to travel, either because of work or sports or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I've done a lot of traveling. Like I said, we've got, you know, kind of corporate offices all over. Love my study abroad, you know, living in Italy as part of the USD community in college for 6-7 months in Milan, Italy was fantastic. We have some strategic investments in Tel Aviv, AT&T. So being out in Israel and watching the media and tech and the multinationals grow there has been really interesting. And then I've got, you know, offices across, you know, the country. So checking in on Chicago, checking in on, you know, Dallas and San Antonio and LA has been great. A lot of my time now is spent in North Carolina, which has been fun as well. So, you know, a lot less travel the last couple of years, and I'll be honest with you, I don't mind. I may lose my Delta status, but, you know, a price to pay, that totally worth it.
The dean of the School of Engineering, which is the school is new since you've been gone, but we've had engineering for a long time. But the dean of the School of Engineering and I talk a lot seriously about losing our status. So we're given this last few weeks or few years. What do you think? This comes from Michael Van Houten. What do you think is the most important success principle for people listening to follow?
Yeah, well, I would say, well, thank you. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you want to listen more than you speak. Be thoughtful in your communication. Use data. Data is your friend. Data is, you know, you can have an opinion. You can have an opinion based in data. I would say what I tell my, you know, my employees and my students is this. Everybody has a problem, right? Hey, Matt, here's the problem. And people bring that forward. The average person will bring that forward. The good employee will say, Matt, here's the problem. Here's a solution, right? The best employees will tell you, here's the problem. Here's the potential opportunities to mitigate it, A, B, C. Here's the time and cost associated with that. And here's what my recommendation is, and this is the reason why. So listen, there's a lot of dots out there in life. You want to connect as many dots for people as you can so that you can advance, you know, whatever your goal and mission and objective is. Those would be some high level points. And be kind.
Right, well, be kind is a very good one. Flash poll just asked, who was a better lacrosse player at the University of San Diego, Milhouse or Battaglia? And I hope, Daniel, I'm saying your name right.
That's great. So my first, my sophomore year of lacrosse, we were at the cafeteria. It was the first lacrosse meeting that we had. and the coach just had everybody's last name listed in the first initial, right? So my last name is Van Houten M. And for anybody that knows The Simpsons, Milhouse Van Houten is the character. So I immediately got a nickname day one. And Mr. Dan Battaglia, great lacrosse player, great attackman. And so I would go with Dan. He was certainly a better player. Also a great roommate. I had a great time with him at MTV. Dan, much love.
That's great. All right, so you're getting on that plane finally. You're flying all the way across the country. You're landing in San Diego. What's the first place you're going to go to?
Wow.
Probably Santana's for your California.
Definitely, maybe In-N-Out or Santana's for sure. I'm probably going to go La Jolla. I'm probably going to call up some friends and we're going to go lobster diving in La Jolla, having a little bit of fun. AJ, maybe my buddy AJ. That's it. I tell you, SeaWorld, if I'm bringing my kids, we're going to SeaWorld, right? But that would probably be it. The downtown's really nice. I'd try to get a Padres game in. Petco Park would be nice. Maybe rent a boat. I got a friend, also lacrosse alumni, Joe Cardoza, big tuna guy. I'd love to go fishing with him. There's just so much you can do there. As you know, I think that's the appeal of San Diego. It's just a cornucopia of options for you, but you got to go longer than a couple days. So I'd love to be out there for a long time. If I could live anywhere, I'd probably live in La Jolla. That'd be a great end state. Yeah,
we'd love to welcome you back. Couple of other questions. Who were some of your mentors at USD or in general that have helped you get where you are today?
Sure. Well, sir, on the lacrosse side, Coach Borton, Coach Mack were great coaches when I was there. Coach Webb, who passed away, was, a legend for our business. I had a lot of great professors there. I don't know if they're still there. Edmonds, professor at the Peace and Justice Center, Sandy in economics, that were really, interesting and inspiring. My family, I've seen a lot of success with them. My dad's done very well in his corporate career. My aunt's done very well in her corporate career. They've been inspiring as well. And honestly, like I said in the beginning, I was just very, blessed to have a great team. And some of these older lacrosse players really treated us with a tremendous amount of care and respect and made it a great experience. Today, on the mentor side, I mentioned, Al Lieberman, who got me into entertainment and media, but that never ends, right? You add mentors all the time and you try to be a mentor, and I wouldn't discount it. I wouldn't discount the importance of that.
Well, Matt, I think that's going to wrap it up for us. What a great time to visit with you, your energy and passion for what you do, but just your passion for life and success is great and an inspiration for us. And again, as I said, the Torero Network is strong and you are an example of it, and everything you do as you're walking down the red carpet to grab your Emmy. We can't wait to celebrate that with you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Charles, thank you. And thanks to the University of San Diego and Zicklin. Like I said, it's been a joy. Any prospective student, any alumni, you've got something very special down there in Southern California. Hold on to it dearly.
That's awesome. Well, thanks especially to Joe Toney, chair of the Men's Lacrosse Alumni Network, and also want to give a shout out to Maya Hood and to Kara Marsh Prophet, who helped make this happen as well behind the scenes. Thanks to all of you who are tuning in, or if you missed it, well, you didn't miss it because you're still listening, but you can tune in to our YouTube channel, search for the University of San Diego Alumni Association on YouTube and see all of our alumni spotlights. Thanks for being with us, and be sure to visit alumni.sandiego.edu to see all of our upcoming events. And we hope to see you live and in person very soon. Maybe we'll see you right there in Matt's headquarters at Hudson Yards. So great to see you all, and go Toreros.